It was a wonderful high school. It was about my upbringing, and it was in our neighborhood, so I really, truly enjoyed attending Anderson. It was a neighborhood school. In fact, it was an all-black school, African-American school, except for maybe one or two of the classmates. So it was a learning experience, and I learned a whole lot, and we had great teachers, caring teachers. So they ensured that we was actually doing our work um, in class, in school. Of course, we enjoyed the sports and cheerleading and that sort of thing, but it was more of a family type school because of being in a neighborhood, being raised in a neighborhood. Well, the teachers were very caring. Of course, when you got in a little trouble in school, well, back then, we had corporal punishment, so you get paddled. But along with that, they will also call your parents and get with your parents, letting them know the behavior that was conducted during school hours. And they would, coach you and pull you to the side and tell you, you're here to learn. And that was very, very caring. My most memorable moments in high school was my senior year. Of course, we had a senior all day out. It was exciting because we were going to graduate on one end, and on the other end, it was very sad because the school was closing. It was segregated in 1971. We were the last graduating class of Old Anderson High School. So it was kind of sad as well as happy. So it was like a mixed feeling there. We didn't quite understand at the time really what was going on and the reason for it. It was a lot of, in front of the school actually, it wasn't a riot, but it was something like people was protesting. And I'll never forget, it was an older gentleman who came to the school, and we seen him put a chain on the front doors with a lock. And it was just so upsetting. But my most memorable days was in my senior year. Again, it was mixed feelings there. I was disturbed about it being closed. I feel we should have kept the school open because it was neighborhood school. In fact, all of my childhood, I attended all African American schools here in Austin. I am an Austin native, born and raised here, so all the schools I attended was African American, so that's pretty much all we knew, you know what I'm saying? By being an Austin native, we stayed in a certain area of town. It was called East Austin. And of course, Hispanics, it was over there east of Holly. And then, of course, the Caucasians, it was over the west of Austin. So we primarily stayed within our boundaries of living. So it was just, it upsets me still to think about why the school was closed. It never was really explained to us why. But so many of the classmates thereafter came after 71, like class of 72, they really don't have a whole lot of memorable moments. In fact, when we have our reunions, we're one of the classes that still have our reunion on our own, class of 71. So we get together and we have a whole lot to talk about. It's a relationship. We talk about back in school days, how we grew up, because we were neighborhood children. So we get together, as well as class of 70, that was a class before us. It's just a big reunion. We can laugh and talk about childhood school days when the children today cannot. They cannot relate. It was more one-on-one. Again, I say family, gatherness. We were able to share things, learn from one another, and expand it out with others. Take up time and see really, actually learn your culture. It's really important that you learn your culture. You have to know where you're going, before you get there. And it's important that you know your history, primarily know who you are, what you stand for, and your culture. And school is very important. Education, is very, very important. And hope that it would be nice if we could have teachers, the teachers today could be like the teachers back in the past, in the old days, because it was more of a caring, parenting type schooling. Everyone, they cared about your education. It was an understanding. If you was a child that actually, had a little bit of problem, you always in trouble or something like that, well then they would put you in timeout, and they would call your parents. And once they call your parents, well, of course, you got in trouble at home, so you got a spanking at home. And then if you was in too much trouble at school, you would get a paddling. Now, they perhaps need to, and I know this is very hard, and I know it's probably never happened, but that kept us pretty much in line when we had that little paddling, because we knew it was going to happen. And we just had so much to share and talk about because we were neighborhood children. And now we don't know one another. These kids, they can't relate. When we start talking about back in the day, they said that's old school. Well, then it truly was back in the day, and we are still pretty much stuck on it. There was respect, there was dignity, there was pride. We wouldn't. There were just certain things we did and we would and would not do, and it was respect there. Respect is a big thing. You have to give it before you get it. And so when a grown up or when an adult spoke to us, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and we listened. And I think all that needs to get filtered back. And the main thing, they took prayer out of school. If they put prayer back into the schools, they would make it a better system, as well as teachers that care. Now, I'm not belittling teachers of today because they have so much more on them than back in the days. Of course, during my school year, they taught maybe one class, opposed to these teachers today, my understanding, teaching 2 or 3 classes. There was more of a one-on-one with the classmates, and that's not happening in the school system today. Parents need to get involved. Our parents was involved in school. My experience with Anderson, it was a wonderful experience. It truly was. It's just that I loved to go to school, went to sleep, anxious to go to school the next day because it was so much fun. Even though we were being educated, but we was friends, family. We did so much together. There was a lot of fighting or anything like that. We just grew up. It's like we're brothers and sisters. And all day long, it was exciting. We just couldn't wait to go to PE. We had PE. We played together. We did so much. It was just, I just really had a wonderful, wonderful experience at Anderson. It made me the woman I am today.